From myth to bronze, Cellini's Perseus and Medusa. Welcome back to Armchair Italy. Today, we are taking a trip from ancient myth straight into the heart of Renaissance Florence. We're weaving together a tale of divine gifts, monstrous curses, bloodthirsty politics, a massive ego, and high-stakes metal casting ordeal that almost burned a workshop to the ground. This episode is part of my Loggia di Lanzi series and a great outdoor sculpture museum that makes Florence, Florence. Let's dive into the story of Perseus and Medusa and how one legendary Florentine sculptor turned a terrifying myth into an iconic bronze masterpiece. So, grab a gelato from Gelateria Neri and walk back to Piazza Signoria to join me in front of the great bronze sculpture at the Loggia. The myth of Medusa and the impossible quest. Before we talk about the bronze statue standing under the open sky of Florence, we have to look back at the artist and mythological legend that inspired it. When we think of Renaissance masters, we usually picture quiet geniuses lost in their work, but today's subject was anything but quiet. Benvenuto Cellini was a master craftsman, court artist, and self-proclaimed killer who spent much of his life running from the law. From surviving poisoning attempts to single-handedly casting one of Florence's most famous bronze statues while suffering from a deadly fever, Cellini recorded every gory detail of his chaotic life in his famous autobiography. So pull up a seat and join us as we dive into the wild biography of the artist who proved the Renaissance was as dangerous as it was beautiful. In Greek mythology, Medusa wasn't always a terrifying figure. While early Greek tradition like Hesiod's Theogony described her as being born a monster, later Roman accounts by Ovid tell a much more tragic story. Medusa was originally a stunning mortal priestess of Athena, but after Poseidon violated her inside Athena's temple, the enraged goddess punished Medusa, transforming her beauty into a horrifying curse. Her hair became a writhing nest of venomous snakes, and her face became so terrifying that anyone who dared look into her eyes instantly turned to stone. Enter Perseus, the demigod son of Zeus and the mortal Danae. Danae is taken by Zeus, and my favorite image of this is Titian's, but you should also check out Tyler Miles Lockett's work for a very fresh modern take on mythology in art. Perseus was tricked into an impossible quest by King Philoctetes of Seriphos. Philoctetes wanted to marry Danae and needed Perseus out of the picture. So he challenged the young hero to bring him Medusa's head, fully expecting him to die in the attempt. Recognizing that this was a total suicide mission, the gods intervened to gear him up. Athena gave him a highly polished bronze shield to act as a mirror so he could see Medusa without looking at her directly. Hermes provided an adamantine sickle to cut through her tough scales. And the nymphs gifted him three crucial items: the cap of invisibility, winged sandals for flight, and a magic pouch to contain her head. Perseus flew to the edge of the world, crept backward into the Gorgon's sleeping lair, using the reflection in his mirrored shield, and with one swift strike, decapitated her. From her severed neck sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and the sword-wielding warrior, never get this right, Chrysaor. Perseus slipped on the cap of invisibility, escaped Medusa's enraged Gorgon sisters, and flew home. Along the way, he used her petrifying head to turn a sea monster to stone to save Princess Andromeda, petrified King Philoctetes to save his mother, and finally gifted the head to Athena, who mounted it on her shield as a symbol of protection called the Gorgonean, or as we know it as an aegis. Bronze, blood, and Medici power in Florence. Now, fast forward thousands of years to 1545 to Renaissance Florence. Cosimo I de' Medici, Duke of Florence, has just consolidated his rule. He wants a grand artwork to decorate the Loggia di Lanzi in the Piazza della Signoria, right near Michelangelo's David and Donatello's Judith and Holofernes. So, he commissions the hot-tempered sculptor Benvenuto Cellini to create Perseus with the head of Medusa. This wasn't just decorative art, it was pure political messaging. Perseus, standing triumphant over Medusa's body, represented Duke Cosimo I, taming the chaotic factions of the former Florentine Republic to establish order under Medici rule. When the statue was unveiled in 1554, it was an instant hit. Perseus stands victorious, raising Medusa's severed head into the air in his left hand. Below him, an elaborate marble base featuring bronze statuettes of Jupiter, Mercury, Minerva, and Danae, complete with a bas-relief showing Perseus saving Andromeda. The entire myth cycle represented before your eyes. Fire, pewter, and hidden details. The creation of the statue is just as wild as the myth itself. Cellini recounted the casting process in his autobiography, and it sounds like something straight out of an action movie. During the monumental task of pouring the molten bronze, a fire broke out in the workshop, and Cellini felt dangerously ill with a fever. While he was bedridden, his assistants came to him in panic. The furnace fire was dying down, the molten bronze was solidifying prematurely, and ailing Cellini leapt out of bed, rushed into the workshop, and ordered his team to feed the furnace with every piece of wood they had. When that wasn't enough to raise the temperature, Cellini started tossing his own pewter tableware and household furniture directly into the roaring flames. The extreme heat melted the bronze back into a liquid state, allowing the pour to finish successfully. And if you ever stand under the Loggia di Lanzi to admire the statue in person, walk around to the back of Perseus's head. Right on the back of his helmet, Cellini carved a secret self-portrait. The hollows and curves of the armor helmet form Cellini's own eyes, nose, and beard. Here's a passage from Cellini's incredible autobiography. I sent for all my pewter platters, porringers, and dishes, to the number of about 200, and placed them one by one before my tubes. While parts were thrown into the furnace, then seeing my bronze was well liquid and my mold filling up, I gave thanks to God with all my heart. After this was done, I turned to a plate of salad that lay on the bench and ate with a hearty appetite and drank with all my men. I then went to bed well pleased and healthy, for the fever had vanished as if it had never been. From a tragic Greek myth to a high-stakes Renaissance furnace fire, Cellini's Perseus with the head of Medusa remains one of the most stunning masterpieces in history. Next time you find yourself in Florence's Piazza della Signoria, take a moment to look up at Perseus, remember the long story behind that severed head, check out the back of Perseus's helmet for Cellini's secret face. Take my advice, head over to Gelateria Neri, try the spicy Mexican chocolate. It's amazing. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep exploring the stories behind the art with the gelato in hand.